And now for Chapter 19. Strike 3, I went down swinging. The conflict of interest storm started a swirl of negative stories and negative interest that simmered, generated terrific heat, which finally became nuclear in dimension. When insurance companies got downwind of the tax loophole for all working Americans, they couldn't sell anything except annuities. They lobbied mightily against us. The push-pull began. It's legal. It's not legal. After the Delaware conflict of interest charge, each city council and state legislature we did business with throughout the country was asked to investigate the legality of the Tom and Jerry plan. Insurance companies selling only tax-free annuities for years to teachers with no competition were totally enraged and insisted that if it's such a terrific idea, they could have thought it up themselves. Our first national retirement plan could be sold to all employees, but especially government employees, whether or not they were teachers. Plan members could buy annuities, but also they could buy any other investment on the massive and open laundry list. Lobbyists raised so much hell in Delaware, the state treasurer finally put a limit on the amount that could be invested of each employee's paycheck to 25% of salary. Originally, it was 100%. There would be no special tax breaks for government workers. She said, we need the tax money now. By the way, this was a conservative Republican treasurer. But it was already legal, and she couldn't stop them from investing. Note, I still have folks from that era hugging me when I walk down the street. They put away scads of tax-free cash from their personal retirement accounts, and it's blossomed into small fortunes. Party leaders privately said insurance lobbyists are blistering it with state officials. Most importantly, the conservative state insurance commissioner, Bob Short, decided to make me his thing to do for his insurance constituents. Short was elected by a wide margin of insurance industry campaigners and money. He accepted contributions of time and money from companies and their agents without even a second look. Without even a second look that there might be any possible conflict of interest. He knew he could represent the industry and the agents well while pretending to be my friend. He took me on as a cause célèbre. After dozens of investigations by every state agency empowered to investigate, I went down swinging. A year's worth of investigation seriously hurt our ability to keep our company solvent and operating faithfully with the required regular computer reports. Eventually, a constant criticism in the media caused our customer base to freeze up, and we had to admit publicly we were broke. A vote was taken on an investigative committee, and we lost. The Tom and Jerry plan was officially thrown out of Delaware. The state kept all the assets and workings of the plan intact. In fact, it is still going strong, one of the biggest savings accounts in America. They just threw us out, and First National headed for bankruptcy. So, near the very end of our survivor, a savior appeared on the horizon. A local brokerage firm who had been using our plan was bought out by a Texas billionaire. His name was magic in Republican circles, H. Ross Perot, a well-known warrior. He knew the potential for billions in our plan. Officers of First National were invited to No. 1 Wall Street in New York City to close the deal. Jerry and I were ecstatic. The Perot organization took over the plan. We signed the deal and we helped them promote it at their sales conferences throughout the country. It was going great. I could smell the gold. We were going to be skillionaires. Then suddenly, they went belly up and filed bankruptcy themselves. Ross's investment group sent all of our stock back to us by Federal Express with no comment. I still respect them for doing that. They were honest to a fault. Finally, I had it. I said, fuck it, Jerry. We can't beat them. I'm joining them. I'm quitting, and I'm going to law school. We both agreed that very minute to change direction. He would go to law school also and make a plan to leave Delaware as soon as possible, and I would stay behind. closed down the company, and filed bankruptcy. So, last of the ninth, everyone knew the bases were loaded. I knew I was, and I slid home as the umpire yelled, "You're out." Drinking was now no ordinary sport, and it wasn't business either. And I couldn't blame it on politics. It was pure survival. It was first aid for my daily survival. Drinking is the way we wounded warriors become anesthetized to daily pain, humiliation, embarrassment, public ridicule, and public mockery. Mockery was reflected in people's eyes. I could see it at the cocktail parties. I saw it at home from my family. I saw it in my friends. I lost total personal confidence. My bravado ebbed away. Except for Jerry, nobody came around anymore. I invited Jerry to come to Wilmington originally after a career in top corporate accounting to help me put First National together on paper. Then a friend of ours named Rudy came from absolutely nowhere to put it on a computer. And finally all three of us became equal partners in the business, which became political drama and trauma. Jerry was always really smart, yet acted reasonable and ordinary. A description applied to very few warriors and was a compliment to most human beings. Rudy was brilliant. Both were rocks of corporate and personal integrity and security for me. Both trained with hardened emotions, as well as an intellectual sophistication, as well as overflowing with personal skills. Both were the only reason I survived First National with only life-threatening wounds. I had enough wounds for all three of us. At least we made a plan to disband with our skins intact. I would stay behind, clean up after us, and take all the heat. We had started law school together, but Jerry graduated first. I took a semester off to travel for the company. We were schoolmates, actual classmates, very close personal friends, and still are, by the way. I just talked to him this afternoon on email. He's in Asia. And former grunt Marines becoming lawyers together. It was a gas to hear us arguing law in a bar or on a plane. We were insufferable. I was drinking every day, very, very hard. Late 60s, early 70s, middle 70s, late 70s, my drinking got heavier and heavier. Both warned me often. Go fuck yourself was my response. Kay warned me. I told her exactly the same thing. We both finally graduated law school and then promptly passed the bar. It took me 2 times. Jerry went south as planned. I stayed north to be sworn in before the Pennsylvania and then the Delaware bars. Chapter 20. All alcoholics remember their last drink. Mine was June 26, 1980, to be exact. I knew it wasn't possible for me to be an alcoholic like my father. I denied this possibility and fought against it all my life, since the very first drink I sneaked at age 12. My father was a weakling. I was strong. My father was smart but uneducated. I was smart but educated. My father was a swabby. I was a Marine. Tough guy, a true grunt. How could I possibly be an alcoholic? It's impossible. After seeing my own father live homeless and die in a life like that? Are you kidding me? To even conceive remotely in my psyche I could absorb the same genetic liability as my own father was totally out of the question.